Welcome back to Antique Coins Information, your trusted source for everything rare, historic, and valuable in the world of coin collecting. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of Lincoln pennies, one of America's most beloved and widely collected coins. While most pennies are worth just their face value, a select few are extremely rare and have sold for millions of dollars at auction. In this video, we'll count down the top 5 most valuable rare USA Lincoln pennies ever, coins that every collector dreams of finding, from striking mint errors to ultra-low mintage classics. Get ready to explore the stories and staggering values behind these iconic treasures. Let's get started. Imagine holding a small copper coin between your fingers, something so ordinary that millions of people have spent it without a second thought. Now imagine that same coin quietly carrying a story of history, craftsmanship, rarity, and unexpected value. This is the story of the United States of America 1960 D Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin that proves even the smallest piece of change can hide a surprising legacy. At first glance, the 1960 D Lincoln penny looks simple and familiar. It carries the calm and dignified portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front, a design that Americans had already known for decades by that time. Lincoln's face, strong yet thoughtful, was created to honor a president who shaped the nation through one of its most difficult periods. By 1960, this portrait had already become a symbol of trust, tradition, and everyday American life. People carried these pennies in their pockets, dropped them into jars, and passed them across counters without ever imagining that some examples would one day be carefully studied and highly valued. Turn the coin over, and you see the wheat ears design that had defined the Lincoln cent for many years. These simple wheat stalks represent prosperity, agriculture, and growth, values that were deeply tied to American identity. By 1960, the wheat penny era was coming close to its end, which makes coins from this period especially meaningful to collectors. They represent the final chapter of a long-running design that had been part of American culture since the early 20th century. The small letter D beneath the date tells an important part of this story. This mint mark shows that the coin was produced at the Denver Mint, a facility known for its high output and consistent quality. During 1960, the United States Mint was working hard to meet the growing demand for coinage as the population expanded and commerce increased. Millions of pennies were struck, yet within this vast production, certain examples stood out due to subtle characteristics, preservation, and minting details. What makes the 1960 D Lincoln penny especially interesting is how condition transforms its importance. Most of these coins lived hard lives. They were spent, scratched, darkened, and worn down by years of circulation. In that condition, they remain common and hold mainly sentimental value. However, when a coin survives in exceptional condition, untouched by circulation and preserved with its original mint luster, it becomes something entirely different. Collectors seek out these pristine examples, studying every detail under magnification, looking for sharp lines, full details, and surfaces free from damage. Another layer of fascination comes from the era itself. The 1960s marked a time of great change in the United States. Society was shifting, technology was advancing, and the country was stepping into a new modern age. Coins from this period are like small time capsules. They remind us of a world before digital payments, before credit cards became common, when the humble penny played a daily role in every transaction. Holding a 1960 D penny is like holding a quiet witness to that moment in history. Collectors also pay close attention to strike quality. The Denver Mint was known for strong strikes, but even so, not every coin came out perfectly. A sharply struck example with clear lettering, well-defined wheat ears, and a strong portrait of Lincoln can stand far above the rest. These differences may seem tiny to the untrained eye, but in the world of coin collecting, they make a remarkable impact on desirability and value. Then there is the copper itself. Pennies from 1960 were made primarily of copper, giving them a warm, rich color when well preserved. Over time, copper reacts with the environment, changing shades and sometimes developing spots or discoloration. A coin that has retained its original red or red-brown tone is far more attractive to collectors than one that has turned dull or dark. Color, shine, and surface quality all work together to tell the story of how a coin has survived the decades. Grading plays a major role in determining worth. Professional grading services examine coins carefully and assign them a grade based on condition. High-grade examples of the 1960 D Lincoln penny are rare not because few were made, but because so few survived without wear. This is where the magic happens for collectors. A penny that once bought a piece of candy can suddenly be recognized as a premium collectible simply because it avoided circulation and now exists in near-perfect form. The appeal of this coin also lies in its accessibility. Many collectors began their journey by searching through pocket change or old jars of coins. The idea that a valuable penny could still be out there waiting to be discovered adds excitement and hope to the hobby. The 1960 D penny reminds people that coin collecting is not just for museums or wealthy investors. It can start at home, with curiosity and careful observation. Stories circulate of people finding high-quality pennies tucked away in old collections, inherited boxes, or forgotten drawers. These moments create a sense of treasure hunting that few other hobbies can match. Every detail matters, from the sharpness of Lincoln's jawline to the clarity of the wheat stalks. Each feature becomes part of a checklist that could transform an ordinary coin into something extraordinary. Beyond money, there is also emotional value. Coins like the 1960 D Lincoln penny connect generations. A grandparent might remember using them as a child, while a younger collector sees them as historical artifacts. This shared connection across time is one of the reasons coin collecting remains popular. A single penny can spark conversations about history, economics, and personal memories. The market for Lincoln pennies continues to grow as collectors seek out the best examples to complete their sets. As time passes, high-grade coins become harder to find, increasing their appeal. The 1960 D penny stands as a reminder that rarity is not always about low production numbers. Sometimes, rarity is about survival, about a coin making it through decades without losing its original beauty. If you ever come across a 1960 D Lincoln penny, it is worth taking a closer look. Examine its color, its shine, and its details. Even if it turns out to be a common circulated example, the process itself teaches you to appreciate the craftsmanship and history behind everyday objects. And if you are lucky enough to find a truly exceptional specimen, you may be holding a small but powerful piece of American numismatic history. In the end, the 1960 D Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny shows us that value is not always obvious. What seems ordinary can become extraordinary with time, care, and a deeper understanding. It stands as proof that history often hides in plain sight, waiting for someone curious enough to notice. And when this remarkable coin reaches the highest levels of preservation and collector demand, its worth has been recorded at $13,883. The small copper coin you might overlook in a handful of loose change has a story far bigger than its size, and today we are diving deep into one such piece of American history. Imagine holding a single cent that quietly traveled through decades of everyday life, passing from one hand to another, witnessing moments of prosperity, struggle, and transformation in the United States. The 1977 D Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny is exactly that kind of coin. At first glance, it may seem ordinary, but when you look closer, its history, design, and collector appeal reveal a fascinating journey that makes it far more interesting than most people realize. The year 1977 sits at an important crossroads in American history. The country was moving forward after the turbulence of the early 1970s. Inflation had changed how people viewed money, gas prices had shocked households, and Americans were adjusting to a new economic reality. Coins minted during this period circulated heavily, serving as silent witnesses to daily life. The Lincoln 1-cent penny struck in 1977 at the Denver Mint was produced during a time when demand for small change was high, and the United States Mint worked tirelessly to keep up with circulation needs. These pennies were meant to be used, spent, and forgotten, which is exactly why surviving examples in excellent condition draw so much interest today. The D Mint mark on this penny tells us it was produced at the Denver Mint, one of the most important coin-producing facilities in the country. The Denver Mint had earned a reputation for efficiency and precision, and by 1977 it was striking hundreds of millions of cents each year. Each coin carried Abraham Lincoln's iconic profile on the front, a design that had been in use since 1909. Created by Victor David Brenner, Lincoln's portrait is one of the most recognizable images in American coinage, symbolizing unity, strength, and the enduring ideals of the nation. On the reverse side of the 1977 penny, you will find the familiar wheat-free Lincoln Memorial design. Introduced in 1959, this reverse replaced the earlier wheat ears and showcased the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. This design choice connected the nation's most famous president to one of its most significant monuments, reinforcing Lincoln's lasting legacy. If you look closely, you can even spot a tiny statue of Lincoln seated inside the memorial, a detail that continues to impress collectors and casual observers alike. The composition of the 1977 Lincoln 1-cent penny is another important detail that adds to its story. Made primarily of copper with a small amount of zinc, these pennies belong to the final era of traditional copper cents. Just a few years later, rising metal costs would push the mint to change the composition of the penny, making earlier copper-rich examples more desirable to collectors. This gives the 1977 penny a special place in history, sitting near the end of an era when American cents had a satisfying weight and rich color that many people still remember fondly. Condition plays a huge role in determining how much attention a coin receives, and this is especially true for the 1977 penny. Most examples were heavily circulated, showing wear, scratches, and discoloration from years of use. However, coins that were carefully preserved or pulled from circulation early can display sharp details, original luster, and clean surfaces. These higher quality examples stand out dramatically when compared to typical worn cents and are often the ones that spark excitement among collectors. Another fascinating aspect of the 1977 Lincoln 1-cent penny lies in the possibility of errors and varieties. Coin errors occur during the minting process, and while they are relatively rare, they can significantly increase a coin's appeal. Off-center strikes, doubled details, or unusual planchet issues can transform an ordinary penny into a prized collectible. Collectors carefully examine coins from this era, searching for subtle differences that might indicate something special. Even the smallest variation can tell a unique story about what happened on the minting floor decades ago. Beyond errors, the strike quality of a 1977 penny can vary. Some coins show strong, well-defined details, while others appear softer or less crisp. These differences add another layer of intrigue for collectors who enjoy comparing examples and learning how production conditions influence the final result. Every coin becomes a tiny historical document, recording not only its design but also the circumstances under which it was made. For many people, the appeal of the 1977 Lincoln 1-cent penny is deeply nostalgic. This is the kind of coin that may have jingled in pockets, rested in piggy banks, or been used to buy candy at a corner store. It represents everyday life in America, a time when a penny still felt meaningful. Collecting coins like this allows people to reconnect with those memories while also learning about the broader historical context in which the coin existed. From an educational standpoint, this penny is an excellent entry point into the world of coin collecting. It teaches beginners how to identify mint marks, evaluate condition, and appreciate design details. At the same time, it offers seasoned collectors the opportunity to search for high-grade examples or intriguing varieties. The balance between accessibility and potential value makes the 1977 Lincoln penny especially appealing. Collectors often emphasize the importance of proper storage and handling. A coin's condition can be preserved or damaged depending on how it is treated. Keeping pennies in protective holders, avoiding direct contact with fingers, and storing them in a stable environment can help maintain their appearance over time. For a coin like the 1977 penny, careful preservation can make a noticeable difference in its long-term desirability. The story of this penny also reflects the broader evolution of American coinage. It marks a period when traditional designs and compositions were still in use, just before major changes reshaped the look and feel of U.S. coins. Holding one is like holding a small piece of that transitional moment, a reminder of how economic forces and technological advancements influenced even the smallest denominations, What truly makes the 1977 Lincoln 1-cent penny compelling is the idea that something so common can still hold surprise and significance. Millions were made, yet each surviving coin has traveled its own path. Some have been worn smooth by decades of circulation, while others remain remarkably fresh, as if frozen in time. This contrast fuels the excitement of collecting and keeps people searching through rolls, jars, and collections with hope and curiosity. As you reflect on this humble penny, it becomes clear that value is not only about rarity or metal content. It is about history, craftsmanship, and the stories that coins carry with them. The 1977 Lincoln 1-cent penny reminds us that even the smallest pieces of money can offer a big connection to the past, linking us to the people, places, and moments that shaped a nation. And when everything aligns perfectly, from condition to collector demand, this unassuming coin can reach a value that surprises many, with its worth reaching $9,999. Imagine holding a simple copper-colored coin in your hand, a coin so ordinary that millions of people have spent it without a second thought. It passes quietly from palm to palm, dropped into jars, lost under couch cushions, forgotten in drawers. Yet hidden within this everyday object is a story that stretches across American history, economic change, minting secrets, and the powerful emotions of collectors who know that sometimes the most common-looking pennies can still carry surprising value. Today, we are diving deep into the fascinating world of the United States of America 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin that at first glance seems modern and modest, but upon closer inspection reveals layers of meaning, rarity factors, and collector appeal that make it far more interesting than most people ever realize. The year 1978 sits at a very unique moment in American history. The nation was recovering from economic turbulence, inflation was a serious concern, and everyday Americans were feeling the pressure of rising prices. Coins minted during this era were part of daily survival, used to buy groceries, pay for gas, and handle small transactions that were still essential to daily life. The Lincoln 1-cent penny had already been in circulation for nearly 70 years by that point, serving as one of the most recognized and trusted coins in the country. By 1978, the design featuring Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back was deeply embedded in American culture, symbolizing stability, legacy, and continuity. The 1978 no-mint mark penny was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not place a mint mark on pennies during that era. This absence of a mint mark is exactly what identifies the coin as a Philadelphia issue. Millions upon millions of these pennies were struck, flooding circulation across the country. Because of this high production, many people assumed the coin must be worthless. However, coin collecting is not just about how many were made, but about condition, precision, errors, preservation, and the fascinating human stories behind survival and scarcity over time. When this penny was minted, it was made primarily of copper, with a composition that still gave it that rich reddish-brown tone collectors admire. This was just a few years before major changes in penny composition occurred in the early 1980s, when copper prices forced the U.S. Mint to alter the metal content. As a result, coins like the 1978 Lincoln penny represent the end of an era, one of the last generations of traditional copper-based cents that feel heavier, warmer, and more substantial in the hand compared to modern zinc-based pennies. What truly draws collectors toward the 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is condition. While countless examples exist in worn, circulated states, finding one preserved in exceptional condition is a completely different story. Over decades of circulation, pennies are exposed to friction, moisture, dirt, scratches, and chemical reactions that dull their surfaces. The majority lose their original luster, develop marks, and fade into a brownish tone. But every once in a while, a coin survives nearly untouched, protected in rolls, albums, or forgotten collections. These high-grade specimens are where value begins to rise dramatically. Collectors carefully examine these pennies for sharp details on Lincoln's portrait, clean fields with minimal marks, and strong original shine. The tiniest imperfections can make the difference between a common coin and one that commands serious attention. Coins graded at the highest levels are exceptionally rare because perfection is nearly impossible in mass production. Even fresh from the mint, Coins can collide with each other, pick up small nicks, or suffer from weak strikes. That is why pristine examples stand out as survivors against overwhelming odds. Beyond condition, minting characteristics also play a role in desirability. Subtle variations in strike quality, alignment, and die condition can influence collector interest. While major errors are not commonly associated with this specific issue, collectors still search for unusually sharp strikes or visually appealing examples that demonstrate outstanding craftsmanship for the year. These small details turn an otherwise ordinary penny into a conversation piece, a reminder that even modern coins can possess individuality. The emotional appeal of the 1978 no-mint mark penny is also powerful. For many collectors, it represents nostalgia. This is a coin that was in circulation during the childhoods of millions of Americans. It jingled in pockets, paid for candy, and sat in piggy banks. Owning a flawless example today is like freezing a small piece of that era in time. It connects personal memories with national history, transforming a simple cent into a meaningful artifact. In the broader coin market, modern era coins often struggle for attention compared to older classics. Yet this is precisely why standout examples can shine so brightly. When a collector seeks completeness, quality, and visual perfection, even a late 20th century penny can become a prized possession. Auction records and collector demand show that exceptional coins consistently outperform expectations, especially when supply at the highest grade is extremely limited. Another factor driving interest is education. As more people learn about grading standards, mint practices, and the importance of preservation, appreciation for coins like the 1978 Lincoln penny continues to grow. New collectors often start with familiar coins, and the Lincoln cent is usually the first series people explore. This steady entry of new enthusiasts helps maintain long-term demand, particularly for top-quality examples that stand above the rest. There is also something uniquely exciting about the possibility that valuable coins might still be hiding in plain sight. Unlike ancient or gold coins that rarely appear outside collections, pennies are everywhere. The idea that a single cent, overlooked for decades, could suddenly be recognized as special fuels curiosity and passion. It encourages people to check jars, rolls, and inherited collections, keeping the hobby alive and dynamic. The story of the 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny is ultimately about perspective. Value is not always obvious at first glance. It grows from rarity within abundance, from survival against time, and from the careful eyes of collectors who understand what makes a coin truly special. This penny reminds us that history does not always come wrapped in gold or silver. Sometimes it comes in copper, quietly waiting for someone to notice. As we reflect on this humble yet fascinating coin, it becomes clear that its worth is not only measured in money, but in story, craftsmanship, and connection. It stands as a symbol of an era, a lesson in patience, and a testament to how even the smallest pieces of our past can hold surprising importance when preserved at their very best. And in the world of high-grade numismatics, a truly exceptional example of this coin has been known to reach a value of $7,466. Imagine holding a simple brown coin between your fingers. It feels light, almost forgettable, like the thousands of pennies that pass through hands every single day. But what if that ordinary-looking coin was quietly carrying a story of American history, hidden rarity, and surprising value? Today, we are diving deep into one such coin that many people overlook without a second thought: the United States of America 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. This humble penny may seem modern compared to classic wheat cents, yet it holds a fascinating place in U.S. coinage and could be far more valuable than you ever imagined. The year 1980 was a turning point in American coin history. The United States Mint was dealing with rising metal costs, changing economic pressures, and the need to keep everyday coins affordable to produce. At that time, Lincoln cents were still being made primarily of copper, just before a major transition that would change the composition of pennies forever. This makes the 1980 Lincoln cent especially interesting, because it belongs to the final era of mostly copper pennies, giving it a special place among collectors and investors alike. The design of the 1980 Lincoln 1-cent penny follows the iconic look that Americans had grown familiar with for decades. On the front, you see the dignified profile of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Lincoln's calm and thoughtful expression represents unity, strength, and resilience, qualities that resonate deeply with American history. The words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" surround his portrait, while the year 1980 sits proudly below. This design had been used since 1909, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. Turning the coin over reveals the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a design introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. What makes this reverse especially fascinating is the tiny yet detailed depiction of Lincoln's statue visible inside the memorial. Even on a small 1-cent coin, the craftsmanship is impressive, reminding us of the skill and care that went into U.S. coin production during this era. Now let's talk about the no mint mark detail, because this is where things get truly interesting. A 1980 Lincoln penny with no mint mark means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. During that time, the Philadelphia Mint traditionally did not place a mint mark on pennies. Millions of these coins were produced, but not all are created equal. Differences in condition, strike quality, errors, and preservation can dramatically affect a coin's desirability and worth. Condition is one of the most important factors when determining the value of any coin. A 1980 no mint mark Lincoln cent that has circulated heavily will show signs of wear, scratches, and dullness. These examples are usually worth only face value. However, coins that were carefully preserved, never spent, or stored properly can look almost brand new decades later. These uncirculated or high-grade coins are where collectors begin to pay close attention. Another major factor that adds excitement to the 1980 no mint mark penny is the possibility of errors and varieties. Mint errors are like fingerprints. No two are exactly the same. Some 1980 pennies may show off-center strikes, doubled details, die cracks, or unusual surface textures. These errors happen during the minting process and often go unnoticed until sharp-eyed collectors discover them years later. When such errors are confirmed and authenticated, they can significantly increase the coin's value. Metal composition also plays an important role in why collectors care about this coin. The 1980 Lincoln cent is made primarily of copper, containing about 95% copper and 5% zinc. Just a few years later, in 1982, the U.S. Mint shifted to copper-plated zinc pennies due to rising copper prices. This makes pre-1982 pennies, including the 1980 no mint mark cent, especially appealing to those who appreciate coins with intrinsic metal value as well as historical significance. For many collectors, the appeal of the 1980 no mint mark penny goes beyond money. It represents a snapshot of American life at the dawn of a new decade. The late 1970s and early 1980s were times of economic change, technological growth, and cultural shifts in the United States. Coins from this era quietly circulated through the hands of millions of people, witnessing everyday transactions, personal stories, and moments of history that were never written down. Collectors often search rolls of pennies, old jars, inherited collections, or even loose change in hopes of finding a high-quality 1980 no mint mark cent. The thrill comes not just from potential value, but from the discovery itself. Finding a well-preserved coin from this era can feel like uncovering a small piece of history that has somehow survived untouched while the world moved on around it. Professional grading is another key aspect that can elevate the worth of a 1980 no mint mark Lincoln penny. When a coin is sent to a reputable grading service, experts examine it under magnification, checking for wear, luster, strike sharpness, and overall eye appeal. The coin is then assigned a grade and sealed in a protective holder. High-grade examples can stand out dramatically in the market, attracting serious collectors who are willing to pay a premium. It's important to remember that rarity does not always mean low mintage alone. Sometimes rarity comes from condition. While millions of 1980 pennies were produced, far fewer have survived in pristine, uncirculated condition. Even fewer display exceptional quality or unique errors. This imbalance between supply and demand is what drives collector interest and pushes values higher over time. For beginners, the 1980 no mint mark Lincoln cent is an excellent entry point into coin collecting. It is affordable to start with, easy to recognize, and rich in educational value. For experienced collectors, it offers opportunities to hunt for top-grade examples, rare errors, and long-term investment potential. This wide appeal keeps the coin relevant in the numismatic community year after year. As you look through your own change or collections, it's worth slowing down and examining each coin closely. A simple penny can tell a powerful story when you know what to look for. The 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny is proof that value isn't always obvious at first glance. Sometimes, it hides in plain sight, waiting for someone curious enough to notice. So the next time you come across a 1980 Lincoln penny without a mint mark, don't dismiss it too quickly. Check its condition, look for unusual details, and consider its place in American coin history. You may be holding more than just spare change. You could be holding a small copper time capsule from a pivotal moment in U.S. minting history. And in exceptional cases, when preserved in outstanding condition or featuring rare characteristics, this seemingly ordinary penny has been known to reach a value of $11,776. Imagine holding a simple 1-cent coin in your hand, something most people would ignore, toss into a jar, or leave forgotten in a pocket. Now imagine that same coin carrying a story, history, and hidden value that could completely change how you look at everyday change. Today's story is about the United States of America 2016 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, a modern coin that seems ordinary at first glance but becomes fascinating the moment you truly understand it. The Lincoln 1-cent penny has always been more than just currency. Since Abraham Lincoln first appeared on the penny in 1909, the coin has symbolized leadership, unity, and American heritage. Even in modern years, the Lincoln cent continues to capture attention among collectors. The 2016 no-mint mark Lincoln penny belongs to this long tradition, and while it comes from a recent year, it holds its own special place in the world of coin collecting. The year 2016 was a significant time for the United States. Economically, culturally, and politically, it was a year of change and transition. Coins minted during such periods often become interesting to collectors because they represent a snapshot of American history. The Lincoln 1-cent penny from 2016 was struck for everyday circulation, meaning millions of Americans used it to buy goods, receive change, or save unknowingly. Yet among those millions of coins, some examples stand out far above the rest. A no-mint mark Lincoln penny means the coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Traditionally, coins from Philadelphia do not carry a mint mark, unlike coins from Denver or San Francisco. This detail is extremely important for collectors because it immediately tells them where the coin was struck. The Philadelphia Mint has a long and respected history, and its coins are often studied closely for quality, strike detail, and potential errors. The 2016 Lincoln penny features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front. This design, originally created by Victor David Brenner, remains one of the most iconic images in American coinage. On the 2016 penny, Lincoln's profile appears crisp and dignified, with fine details in the hair, facial features, and coat. Collectors carefully inspect these details because sharpness and clarity can significantly affect a coin's desirability. On the reverse side, the coin displays the Union Shield design. Introduced in 2010, the Union Shield represents Lincoln's preservation of the United States as a single unified nation. The shield's vertical stripes symbolize the states, while the horizontal bar across the top represents the federal government holding everything together. For many collectors, this design adds historical depth and meaning to the modern Lincoln penny series. What makes the 2016 no-mint mark Lincoln penny especially interesting is not just its design, but its condition and rarity in high grades. While millions were minted, only a small number survive in flawless or near-perfect condition. Coins that show no wear, no scratches, and strong original luster are extremely difficult to find, especially after years of circulation. These top-grade examples are the ones that capture serious collector attention. Collectors often examine the coin's surface under magnification, looking for clean fields, sharp lettering, and strong details. Even tiny marks or imperfections can lower a coin's grade. That is why uncirculated examples, particularly those that have never been used in daily transactions, are so valuable. Many 2016 pennies entered circulation immediately, making pristine examples increasingly rare over time. Another reason collectors value certain 2016 no-mint mark pennies is the possibility of striking anomalies. While not common, small variations in strike quality, die alignment, or surface texture can make a coin far more desirable. These subtle differences may go unnoticed by the average person, but experienced collectors know exactly what to look for. The metal composition of the 2016 Lincoln penny also plays a role in its identity. Like modern pennies, it is primarily made of zinc with a thin copper coating. While this composition differs from older solid copper pennies, it still represents an era of American minting practices. Collectors often appreciate coins from different periods because they reflect changes in materials, technology, and production methods. What truly excites collectors is the idea that something so small and common could be worth far more than its face value. The thought that a penny from your change jar or wallet could be special adds a sense of adventure to coin collecting. Many people begin collecting simply by checking their pocket change, and stories of valuable modern coins keep that excitement alive. Condition is everything when it comes to modern coins. A heavily circulated 2016 penny might be worth only its face value, but a flawless, professionally graded example can reach astonishing heights. Coins graded at the highest levels by respected grading services are especially prized. These grading companies carefully evaluate every aspect of a coin, from surface preservation to strike quality, and assign a grade that the collecting community trusts. The demand for high-grade modern coins has grown significantly in recent years. As more collectors enter the hobby, competition for the best examples increases. This demand pushes values higher, especially for coins that are difficult to find in perfect condition. The 2016 no-mint mark Lincoln penny benefits from this trend, as top-quality examples are far scarcer than most people realize. Another factor adding to the appeal of this coin is its accessibility. Unlike ancient or extremely rare coins that are impossible for most people to find, the 2016 Lincoln penny is something many people may already have. This makes the search thrilling, because the possibility exists that a valuable coin could be hiding in plain sight. Collectors also appreciate the educational aspect of coins like this. Studying a modern penny teaches valuable lessons about minting processes, grading standards, and the importance of preservation. It shows that even modern coins deserve attention and care, and that value is not limited to centuries-old pieces. For YouTube viewers, stories like this are especially captivating. They combine history, mystery, and the hope of discovery. The idea that a recent coin could carry significant worth challenges assumptions and encourages viewers to look more closely at everyday objects. It transforms something ordinary into something extraordinary. The Lincoln 1-cent penny continues to be a symbol of American resilience and continuity. From its introduction over a century ago to modern issues like the 2016 no-mint mark penny, it connects generations through a shared piece of history. Each coin carries not only monetary value, but cultural and historical significance. As time passes, fewer pristine examples of modern pennies will remain. Coins get spent, scratched, lost, or damaged, making top-quality survivors increasingly rare. This natural attrition is one reason why collectors believe that high-grade modern coins will continue to gain attention and respect. If you ever come across a 2016 Lincoln 1-cent penny with no mint mark, take a moment to look at it closely. Examine the details, the shine, and the overall condition. You might be holding a coin that tells a much bigger story than its size suggests. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and the 2016 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is a perfect example of how value can hide in unexpected places. What seems like spare change can become a meaningful and potentially valuable collectible when the right factors come together. And for those exceptional examples that meet the highest standards of quality and preservation, the value can rise to an astonishing level, reaching as high as $9,266.